Hi, my name is Bryan, and today we're going to break down a really critical choice in the world of industrial automation, picking the right brain for your rugged PC. And, it almost always comes down to two main contenders from Intel, the Atom and the Core i. But this isn't just about comparing spec sheets. No, it's really a decision between two very different philosophies. Rock solid reliability for one specific job versus some serious, powerful flexibility for whatever the future throws at you. So let's dive in and figure out which one is the right fit for you. Okay, so just take a look at this, a factory floor. This is probably one of the toughest places you could ever put a computer. You've got heat, you've got constant vibration, dust everywhere, and the demand for performance just never ever stops. A regular desktop PC would last a day, let alone a week. You absolutely need a machine that's purpose-built for one thing, just unwavering reliability. So you need an industrial PC. Great, but now what? The options can feel a little overwhelming. The real questions you've got to ask yourself is, do I need a super reliable specialist that's going to just do one job perfectly day in and day out, no questions asked? Or do I need a flexible powerhouse that can adapt and grow as my operations change? That's the exact question we're going to get to the bottom of today. So, here's how we're going to break it all down for you. We'll start with why industrial computing is such a unique challenge. Then we'll introduce our two classes of processors, the Atom and the Core i. Then we'll put them head to head in spec comparison, match them up to the right jobs, see how they literally handle the heat, and finally, help you find that perfect match for your project. Okay, first things first. Let's really dig into the problem we're solving, because an industrial PC, it's not just about crunching numbers. It's about doing it flawlessly when the stakes are incredibly high. Just think about it for a second. These machines are the brains behind entire manufacturing lines. They're logging safety-critical data, and they're running the interfaces for massive facilities. Failure isn't just a small hiccup. It can mean thousands in downtime or even worse. So the number one non-negotiable requirement is just absolute bulletproof reliability. And that leads us perfectly to our two main players, which we're going to look at through the lens of the ASEM 6300 family. In one corner, we've got the Intel Atom class. You can think of it as the champion of focused, dedicated reliability. And in the other corner, the Intel Core i class, the powerhouse of future-proof flexibility. You can almost tell the whole story just by looking at them. The Atom unit on the left is compact, sleek, and the entire case is basically one giant heatsink. It just screams low maintenance and durability. Then you look at the Core i model on the right. It's a bigger box, and you can tell it's built with more room inside for more power, and this is a key for adding stuff later on. And that right there, that's the whole trade-off in a nutshell. The Atom is the specialist. It's engineered for efficiency, designed to do one specific job with the most reliability possible. The Core i series, that's your versatile workhorse. It's built for tougher jobs today with the flexibility to handle whatever you might need to do tomorrow. Alright, so what does all that philosophy look like when you get down to the nitty-gritty hardware? Let's put them side by side. This is where those big ideas, focus reliability versus powerful flexibility, really starts to show up in the numbers. Now this chart is perfect because it lays out the whole theme in black and white. Just look at the Atom column. 4 or 8 gigs of RAM, soldered on, specific storage options. Then you glance over at the Core i, RAM all the way up to 32 gigs, way more storage potential, and the real game changer, up to 3 PCIe expansion slots. So let's talk about the soldered RAM on the Atom for a second. Why is that even a thing? Well, in an environment that's shaking all the time, connections can wiggle loose. It just happens. By soldering the RAM directly into the board, you basically eliminate that point of failure. You create this incredibly tough, shock-resistant machine. It's the very definition of set it and forget it reliability. And then you flip the coin and you've got the Core i's secret weapon, expansion. Those PCI slots, that's your ticket to the future. Need to add a special network card, custom I/O, a graphics accelerator down the line? You can do it. This is a hardware that makes good on the promise of future-proof reliability. Okay, specs on a slide are great, but let's make this real. how does this actually translate to the jobs you need to get done out there on the factory floor? The ASEM sweet spot is for those dedicated tasks that demand absolute consistency. If you need a machine to be a dependable HMI, or a nonstop IoT gateway pulling in sensor data, or just a simple data logger, the ASEM is what it was built for. It's all about reliable performance in a very specific role. But what if your needs are more complex? What if your job is bigger and more demanding? Well, that's the Core I territory. It's made for applications that need more horsepower, like running really sophisticated hardware like FactoryTalk View SE or Optix. These systems are also dynamic, they're data heavy, and they need the power and flexibility that Core I brings to the table. Alright, let's switch gears and talk about something that's always a factor in these environments: heat. A plant floor is definitely not a climate-controlled server room, so your PC has to be able to handle high temperatures without breaking a sweat. And, no surprise here, we see those two different philosophies show up yet again. The ASEM class is completely fanless. That's a huge win for reliability, right? No moving parts means there's no fan to fail or to get clogged up with dust. The Core I class, on the other hand, offers fan-cooled units that are specifically designed to thrive in the hottest environments, giving you the flexibility to put it pretty much anywhere. And that number, 50 degrees Celsius, that's 122 Fahrenheit by the way, that is no joke. The fact that both of these are rated for it just shows you how tough they are. But for those places in a plant that are always pushing the limit, or even going beyond it, the active cooling you get with the Core I becomes an absolute necessity. It's just another example of its operational flexibility. Okay, we've gone through a ton of stuff here. Specs, applications, even how they deal with the heat. So let's bring it all home and give you a really simple framework to help you make the right call. It really just boils down to asking yourself three simple questions. First, what's the job? Is it a fixed task like data logging that just needs to be super reliable? That's an ASEM. Is it a complex process that needs flexible power? That's the Core I. Second, what's the environment like? If low maintenance and fanless is your top priority, the ASEM is a clear winner. If you need it to perform in extreme heat, you're going to want a Core I. And finally, number three, what about tomorrow? If the job is never going to change, the ASEM is perfect. But if you think you might want to add hardware later on, you absolutely need the Core I. So you see, at the end of the day, it's not about which PC is better. It's about which one is the right tool for your job. Do you need the rugged, reliable specialist that was built for a single dedicated purpose? Or do you need the powerful, adaptable workhorse that's ready for whatever you dream up next? Hopefully after this, that decision is a whole lot clearer. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to Automation Nation. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments down below, and one of our specialists will answer them. See you next time.